Johnson and Bow from the front row for this race. Mark King, Jim Polisena on the second row. Great run for Polisena this weekend. Consistent in that Tirana. Tony Karanfilowski and Cam Tilley starting from row number 3. Back to Yulden and Lilly. Jamie Tilley out of position number 11. Cam Mason out of 12. Marcus Sukanovic, the Z-Man, is back in the field with the XD Falcon. Jim Richards will start from 14th place. Aaron McGill down in 17th. Alan Bowden, the big Comet, is also here today at Bathurst. And Sven Burkhardt staying out of 21.
Yeah, one of the big stories, Brad Tilley back from row 11. So we saw yesterday in the race contact with Ian Woodward on the run up to Reed Park. He was penalised, the equivalent of a drive-through penalty for that contact. That's why the big GDHO that won the trophy race this morning starts from right down the back of the field.
So down through to the Dipper. Beautiful blue skies and ready for their spiritual home, these cars. They just belong on the mountain. Yes, we race them on some other amazing circuits around Australia, but this is where they belong.
They really do. They've had a terrific history here and some amazing races. Almost 15 seconds in lap time of improvement since they first raced here in 2007. So they're almost 15 seconds quicker now. The race in development in these cars is quite outstanding as they continue to improve them and chop lap time out.
So putting some heat into these Hoosier controlled tyres on this 28 car field. Not too far away, there's the big Comet getting set for blast off in this race around Mount Panorama. The rows of 2 in the Painter-Dixon Touring Car Masters coming down Conrod Straight, back at home, back where they belong. And Johnson and Bow, why not have them on the front row for this race number 2 in round 7 of this year's series?
It's a great front row. The Mustang has been fast. Yesterday, though, Johnson said, I thought there was a very good chance Adam Bressington was going to get me. That Camaro was very quick. Unfortunately, he was running second with 2 laps to go. He locked the brake big time into turn 1 and it popped the tyre, so he had to pit. As a result, the White Line Racing car starts from way down the field in 25th place. One of our key championship contenders will map his charge through the field over 6 laps. Sprint race at Mount Panorama. Johnson and Bow on the front row. Watch for Mark King. He's been really quick this weekend. That car approaching 290 kilometres an hour in a straight line down Conrod.
Amazing speeds. Richard Crowell alongside me, Matt Nolte for this race too. It's always a great lead into a big afternoon here at Mount Panorama. A great crowd watches on and 28 cars ready to take on the mountain here at Bathurst. Johnson, Bow, and here comes the green flag in race number 2. We're underway.
Really good formation. A nice rolling start. Karanfilowski looks down the inside of King for 3rd and 4th place. They run up Mountain Straight for the first time. Right, taking it nice and easy so far. Threading the eye of the needle. Getting themselves sorted for Mountain Straight. So it's Johnson and Bow 1 and 2. King is 3rd. Polisena next, and wheel to wheel. Looked like Cameron Tilley and Tony Karanfilowski it was. And the Valiant Pacer gets that position, and Brett Yulden goes through as well.
I love the way we've seen across all our categories this weekend. They stay in the rows of 2 for so long. Even up through Blundstone Bend, you're inside the man who won the trophy race. It's Brad Tilley, picked up his 3rd win at Mount Panorama as we climb through tyre power cutting. Beautiful blue skies as they climb the shelf for lap 1 of 6.
Marcus Sukanovic just looking up the inside of Jason Gomersal. Had a power steering issue yesterday in that car, but in the opening race worked his way through and made up 15 positions. The XD Ford Falcon, he's up to 12th now. Really good start. That was Bressington and Hansford going through. 2 drivers working their way through the field. Ryan had a car jam in gear in the race yesterday while running 3rd. Was pretty devastated about that. In what's been a really good weekend for the Hansford family. His late great father Greg inducted into the Mount Panorama Legends Lane this weekend.
Yeah, very moving moment, wasn't it? Early this weekend as down through the Cooper's Dipper. We're watching Polisena, Cam Tilley and Brett Yulden. There's a familiar surname on the mountain also.
Now, Cameron Tilley's car broke in the trophy race this morning. As he came to the line, it broke a tail shaft. Quite remarkably, it turns out a prop shaft from a 1964 Ford Mustang fits, or Alan Bowden right, fits a Valiant Pacer because they've pinched one from Jamie Tilley's car. Jamie's car broke a leaf spring early on today and will not start this race. Did not start this race. So they borrowed one from the nephew, and Cameron is back on the racetrack and aggressively attacking Jim Polisena. Policina on the run into the chase.
Loving the fact he's going about 25 k's an hour quicker this year down Conrod than what we saw him last year. Bit of contact maybe between Freestone and Bresington. Heading down there is Dean Lilly, the HQ, on the way down to the final turn. Sukanovic, there's the first look at the XD we've seen that was debuted at Sandown. It's down the inside. This is Bresington on Mercer, so that was King a bit further up the road. As he continues his charge, he's up to 15th place.
In a lap from 25th place. What a drive from the VDC Camaro. Bresso fired up, looking to salvage some championship points. Difficult start to his weekend. So it's Johnson, Bow and King 1, 2 and 3. Policina 4th in the Holden Tirana. Then Cameron Tilley and Brett Youlden next. Side-by-side battle there. That was Marcus Sukanovic dicing with Jason Gomersal in the A9X.
Yeah, good start, wasn't it? Taking the replay here of how it looked going into turn number 1. That was Tony Karafalowski up on the curb. To the inside. Youlden had the speed, but nowhere to go. Tony Kay covered him off nicely as he looked for the move on King. Policina was on the outside. There is Sukanovic and the Falcon and Wayne Mercer. Everybody got through nicely. Great to see Aaron McGill in the field this year too.
Tell you what, Brett Youlden's car looked like it's been photoshopped compared to all the others. It's so bright. Just looking up the inside there at turn 1 in that Monaro. There's Andrew Fisher, the Jesus Racing GDHO Falcon. Another driver stuck in gear yesterday. It seemed like an epidemic throughout the field. Some key contenders dropping out of the motor race. And that was Leo Tobin we were riding on board with, had to dive out of the way. Now, I suspect this is that moment we saw from Al Baljan, the man from Queensland with a big slide, the former drag racer, in that just absolutely wild Mercury.
You and I think that was a slide. He'll go, what are you talking about? That's nothing.
Felt that.
Yeah.
I think so long. Hansford behind going past Ben Dunn in the Chevy Monza.
Down towards the elbow we go, lap number 2. You're watching Marcus Sukanovic here at 9th position with Mason and Fisher and Bresington. Oh, Bresington, another 3 spots, no worries. He's up to 12 now and could be inside the top 10 in another lap or so.
Here goes Andrew Fisher. Great run out of the elbow. Trying to work his way past the young guy from Newcastle in Cameron Mason, son of former series champion. Wow, what was that? That was a huge bit of debris.
It's like a tail shaft.
Oh, yeah, and it will be. Well spotted, Matt Nolte. It's Cameron Tilley. So I told you the story about how the tail shaft broke early on. They borrowed one from Jamie Tilley, and it's just broken. And it's broken seriously. Halfway down Conrod Straight at 270 odd kilometres an hour, and it's flown out from underneath the car.
Here it
This will
is.
show it. Watch the blue car, middle of shot. There it goes.
Oh, wow.
And splits in half. The yoke in the middle of that separates. You can see the yoke that goes into the back of the gearbox there at the front of the tail shaft. Oh, wow, and it hit the bridge.
It's come back down and landed off to the side of the road, so his day has come to an end. As up to the top of Griffins goes Paul Freestone, makes the move on Brett Youlden, so he's up into position 5. I like how these guys retired, can I use that in quotes, and decided we're coming back. Brett Youlden, let's hope he never retires properly, because he's such a great part of Touring Car Masters. As he climbs the top of the cutting, it's Johnson leading from Bow, King, Policina and Paul Freestone in race 2 here at Mount Panorama.
So some interested spectators watching on from the Shell V-Power Racing team. Stephen Jo's wife Bree watching on, right of shot there. Son Jet, and of course the legend Dick Johnson in the middle. Passionately follows the progress of Car 17 in both series this weekend. And of course Team Johnson established the start of last season, resulted in a championship, the Cotai Newcastle 500 at the end of last year. He leads the race by 1.7 seconds over John Bow. King remains 3rd. JB's quick, he's got decent pace in that car, but just can't peg the margin of 2.3 seconds to the race leader.
Johnson's having his own top 10 shootout lap here. The way he come down, there is Cam Tilley walking away, as we'll see Johnson appear in the shot in the chase. Here comes Mustang Sally. You can hear the Mustang on the absolute rev limiter, pretty much coming into Forest Elbow.
And part of that, Matt, is that as the performance adjustment in the category, if you win, you lose 100 RPM in your car. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, Stephen Johnson's won quite a lot this season.
Yeah.
So, as a result, his car is rev limited. So the car just crashes into the limiter. Oh, Freestone off the road from 5th place. He was going so very well.
thrown it all away after making that move on Yilden. Is there more to that story as we pick up Marcus Sukanovic inside the top 10. He's 7th. And Bresington is there. He's now in 8th position from 25th on the grid. He's eyeing off a top 5 result here.
It's an outstanding drive. So we heard Marcus Sukanovic with power steering issues early in the weekend. He said, I didn't actually know that the power steering wasn't working. I had no context on which to judge that because he's never raced these cars before. He didn't get that many laps at Sandown either. So it was a learning experience. He popped his crew chief, Dick Savvy, in the car, who drove it around the paddock and said, mate, you've got no power steering. We can fix that. So it's a whole new world for the Action Racing number 71 XD Falcon, who just gets passed by a fired-up Bresso in the 69 Camaro.
He'll be staying well out of his wheel tracks today. Bresington climbing towards the top of the cutting. Tony Karanfilowski is his next target as we're halfway home in race number 2. Another one to come up here at Mount Panorama tomorrow as the lead into the big race, as they do every year here at Bathurst.
This has been a good drive from Karanfilowski as well, Matt. He got a lot of confidence out of that really strong performance at Sandown at the last round of the series. His crew chief, Spencer Rice, said he's just driving really well, not stressing too much about it. Eyes forward, enjoying the way this Mustang is performing. He's going to have to deal with Bresso at some point soon, and it'll be very soon. If Mustang and Camaro pony car battle continues, Sukanovic will have an eye on this and try and work his way through as well. And Andrew Fisher's just tacked onto the back of this battle pack in the GTHO Falcon.
Might try and go with both of them.
Yeah.
Come down to Conrod Straight. So this 4-car battle heading down towards Forest Elbow. Tony Kay, Bresington, Sukanovic and Fisher. And Mason still completing the top 10. Johnson's lead is still 3.8 seconds back to Bow. And King is down Conrod Straight. We follow this pack of Touring Car Masters. So down the high-speed Conrod Straight here at Mount Panorama in the closing stages of the Paynter-Dixon Touring Car Masters through the chase. And Adam Bresington, Richard Crail on the absolute charge. This is another position. He now goes up into 6th.
Huge drive. The VDC Camaro. Oh no, Andrew Fisher off the road in a big way. And into the gravel at the chase. He'll be stuck there. You don't drive out of that gravel trap. The biggest braking zones in Aussie motorsport from 290 odd kilometres an hour. It's a deep old gravel trap there in front of Mount Panorama Hotel. And after a really stout drive from the back of the field, the Jesus Racing car well bunkered.
It's a very deep gravel trap put there many, many years ago to arrest the cars coming in at high speed. And here's what it looked like from behind. He got the curve, but unsettled. And this is a wild moment. Lucky it happened behind Sukanovic. And we both closed our eyes then as the Jesus Racing Falcon went into the gravel.
That shot probably makes it look closer than it was. Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't. No, I was wrong. He was very close to making contact with Sukanovic. That was like an outfield catch in cricket where you get the ball and you drop it and you catch it and you drop it. He almost had that. He almost got it in the glove, but unfortunately put it down at the end and ends up bunkered. We're still green at the moment. There's a lap and a half to go and the leaders are heading up Mount Panorama. So, from our point of view, hopefully they can just do that under a waved yellow. Andrew will be fine in that car. He'll be displeased with life at the moment, but he'll be okay.
It's a long way in the gravel. Yeah. That is buried really deep in the chase.
So it just shows how much that curve on the inside unsettles these cars in particular. They don't have the aero downforce and the grip that a supercar has, or indeed a Porsche Carrera Cup car has through that high-speed corner. They're braking a long way before the kink. You wouldn't take it flat in a TCM car in a million years.
5 seconds, though, is the gap between Johnson and Bow. 2:18.96 on his third lap is the quickest lap of the race and comfortably quicker than everyone else. As he goes into happy times.
Sorry, Matt, waved yellows. You can see there at the kink. So letting the drivers know that there's a car stranded. They'll see it. Bright red Falcon bunkered in the gravel trap. That's the gap back to Mark King in 3rd place. Having a really good weekend in the King Springs 1970 Chevy Camaro. Then it's Yilden. Then this really feisty little battle pack back to Adam Bresington. He's up to 5th place. So 20 places gained in this one. Then Jim Polosina, then Tony Karanfilowski, and Marcus Sukanovic.
Mark King, better weekend, and he'll be happy with this result after a troublesome weekend the previous round at Sandown, and there is Freestone in the pits, so flat right front tyre. on car number 25 after running inside the top 10. His race is done. As we start the final lap here in race number 2 of the Painter Dixon Touring Car Masters, Jim Policina, the Mocom Tirana, running back in 6th position. Oh, Bressington.
How hard is he pushing, Matt? Trying to make up lost ground. He's going to struggle to get to the back of Brett Youlden in 6.2k, so it might be P5. Settle for a third row start for tomorrow's final race of the round and work your way forward from there. Just to finish on Mark King, he's having a really good season. He's 5th in the championship. Oh, gee. I mean, the difference between that and what happened with Jack LeBrock yesterday, where he actually made contact, is not very much. It's a game of inches. So well caught for Bressington. What a great charge through the field.
And the crowd responding up on top of the hill. They're settling more and more in by the minute up there. Hardly see any green space up there now. The green Mustang, though, coming down through the Cooper's Dipper. And trying on the last lap, even though it's back to 2 seconds.
This is an interesting race, Matt. But what it does is set things up really nicely for the curtain raiser tomorrow morning before the Super Chip Auto Bathurst 1000. So another 6-lap race, and that will decide the weekend. But everyone's building. All the good cars are back at the front now after their dramas. So Bressington's in there. Youlden's really fast. I think Marcus Sakanovic's got more speed to come out of the XD, so I'm liking that. Even Hansford now up to 11th from the back of the field. So for tomorrow, the signs are really promising. We'll have a great way to finish the weekend.
We started the weekend in very wet, gloomy, dark conditions here at Bathurst. It's turned out to be a bright, sunny day here on the mountain. And nobody's going to stop Stephen Johnson from picking up another win in the Painter Dixon Touring Car Masters. Thinking about putting one hand on that series trophy as he comes out the final turn. It's another win to Johnson. It's another Johnson and Bow 1-2 here at Bathurst.
14th win of the season, equal most of all time in a single season of TCM with the guy who finished just behind. Here's the fight for 4th place. Bressington in the final corner, attacking Brett Youlden. Does the Monaro get there? Gee, it's close. Oh, the less than a 10th between them across the line, and Youlden just held out for 4th.
I love
Good
those
fight.
last corner lunges here at Bathurst. They're so cool. There's Cam Mason coming across just ahead of Jason Gomersall down there for 9th and 10th position, and Ryan Hansford back in 11th. Jimmy Richards moved up the field there. He started towards the bottom of that top 20, but it's Stephen Johnson collecting another win. W's all around for the WM Waste entry, ahead of John Bow, Mark King, Brett Youlden, Adam Bressington, Tony Karanfilowski back to Jim Policina. The Z-Man finishes in 8th ahead of Mason and Gomersall.
Brian Hansford was next, and Jimmy Richards in 12th, Wayne Mercer 13th. Our Belgian 15th. He's having a good weekend in the Comet. Brad Tilley worked his way from the back to 16th place. The Porsche of Sven Boykarts was 18th.
Over the page.